This is the gas-powered 2026 Dodge Charger RT, and it's surprisingly quick, surprisingly comfortable, and it still looks like it wants to pick a fight. But has Dodge saved the Charger? Or is it the automotive equivalent of serving tofu at a Texas barbecue? Let's find out. The Dodge Charger used to be America's king of tire smoke and bad decisions. Then Dodge ripped out the Hemi and plugged it into the wall, and American fans reached for their pitchforks. The result was about as well received as replacing Jack Daniels with kale juice. Sales just didn't decline. They were mugged, beaten, and left unconscious in a ditch. They went from 76,000 units to just 10,000. That's an extinction event. Which brings us back to this, the 2026 Dodge Charger RT, which is going to be the one that most people buy. And I think from most angles, it actually looks really cool, but there is a problem. It has grown massively. It's like a cruise liner with headlights. The wheelbase has been stretched to 121 inches. The width is almost 5 inches wider, and it's 11 inches longer overall. In fact, I can't get this thing into my garage. All that means it now weighs 4,921 pounds, 2.5 tons, 500 pounds heavier than the outgoing Charger. One cool feature is the hood releases right here. Just press it once and both latches open. That means no fumbling around for the latch that you can never find. Under the absurdly long hood, you get this 3-liter straight-six turbocharged engine, now called the Sixpack, which they remind you on both sides of this cover and also on the hood. It's got 420 horsepower, 468 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot more than the Hemi, but 130 horsepower less than the Scat Pack version. Why? Well, this one's got smaller turbochargers and it achieves its peak power lower down in the rev range. It sounds different too, because the Scat Pack gets a clever valved exhaust that sounds like a grizzly bear using a megaphone. This one is a little bit more subtle. It makes nice noises and it kind of reminds me a little bit of a BMW straight six. Power is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and all wheels are driven on this car, except when you push the Sport button, and that transfers it to a rear-wheel drive car, so you can have some real fun. Dodge says 0 to 60 takes around 4.7 seconds, which is a little bit quicker than the outgoing Hemi. So because this has the performance pack for $2,995 checked, it gets these optional 20-inch wheels riding on these Goodyear Eagle Sport all-season tires. The standard size tires are 255/45s, which I don't think are enough. Certainly wouldn't give you enough grip. And then of course you get these Brembo brakes as well. Here's another plus. A nice power operating lift gate. It's a hatchback. Behind here you get around 22.8 cubic feet of space. And then if you put those seats flat, you get around 38, which is pretty good. So how much is it? Well, base prices on this car, it's the lowest price Charger you can buy, is $51,995. Now it does have that $2,995 performance pack. You get performance suspension, you get line lock, you get launch control, and of course you get these Brembos. It also has the preferred package that gives you heated and cooled front seats and Uconnect 5. So out the door, the price is $62,675, which I think is a lot. So that extra long wheelbase has done wonders for rear seat passengers, kind of. You get an extra 4 inches of legroom, but because this car shares its platform with the Daytona EV, they had to raise the floor to make room for the battery. So you end up sitting with your knees almost as if this was a 3-row SUV. They're not the most comfortable. They're okay. You do get heated outboard seats, you get vents, you get power, and it's a decent place to be for a short trip. Things are definitely an improvement in the front. These are the sports seats you get, and they're really nice multi-way power, heated and ventilated, as I mentioned. Of course, you have to have the obligatory squircle wheel, but it's a nice place to be, and it's definitely a nice place to spend some time in. The dash and the design is actually genuinely impressive, particularly like the ambient lighting and how it flows nicely into the doors. They've done a really good job here. But not everything is perfect. If you reach over here, this is nice, soft feeling plastics, but if you, using your core, lean forward and touch here, you get the cheap seats. But where Dodge absolutely nails it is with the technology. A lot of manufacturers seem determined to hide basic functions inside 17 different menus, and it's really, really annoying. So this is a fairly refreshing infotainment. Screens are decent sized, angled towards the driver. You do get this sort of flat switch system right here that you can change temperatures, but it's pretty easy to use and rest your finger on this little ledge while you're driving. It comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a physical volume knob and a physical tuning knob. This pistol grip shifter is a lovely nod back to Dodge's muscle car days. You get some additional controls here. You've got parking sensors, you've got lane departure off, traction control off, launch button. I do like this, instead of saying ambient lighting, attitude adjustment. Gotta love that. So you could have it like, I'm really angry, orange, looks like someone left the oven on, or I'm calm with some cool purple. Got a really nice high def camera. And then to the right and left, the passenger and the driver get their heated seat controls, cooled seat controls, and you also get a heated squircle. Of course, this would not be a muscle car without drive modes. Hit this, and it takes you to this page where you can go into auto. That's all-wheel drive. Sport changes it to rear-wheel drive. You can also set sport up with this button right here. Propulsion, paddles, traction, and steering on full. Or you can go custom setup and do exactly the same thing. And then if it snows or is wet, certainly won't be doing that today, you can press that one to get more traction. Here, the driver, you get a nice digital dash. You can hit the button on the steering wheel and you can change the way it looks. That's the sort of like super stealthy look. I like that one. This one, you can add in your maps with your speedo to the side, or you can go back to the one that has all the information. So if we scroll through here, we have boost pressure, oil life, all that good stuff. If you go to the side, you can see I'm averaging 16.4 miles to the gallon. That's going to change it when we get on the road. Minor annoyances, these paddle shifters are so tiny, you can barely get to them behind the wheel. You got a +1 here and a -1 right here. Only thing left to do is drive this thing. So first impressions are, yeah, it's pretty big. It's like guiding a huge tanker through the Panama Canal. Also, the throttle is very sort of hair trigger. You just need to touch it and the car leaps forward. The good thing about those smaller turbochargers is it means that the power comes a little quicker than when you're driving the Scat Pack, which it takes a little bit of time for those bigger turbos to spool up. So this one, very little lag. Now I'm in auto mode, so it'll be a little quicker in sport mode, which we will try once we get onto this other section. Other good news is that the long wheelbase makes for a very comfortable ride on these pretty awful San Diego roads. So what I've done is I've hit sport mode, which turns the traction control off, but I'm on public road, so I'm going to put the traction control back on again. So I've got sport mode with traction control, rear wheel drive. Let's go. It does sound pretty good. Let's try the brakes here. Oh yeah, they're good. This 6 actually sounds pretty good. Now I do understand that some of it to a degree is piped into the cabin, so I don't know kind of what's happening outside. It's certainly not going to be as good as a Hemi. But how does it drive? Well, it seems to be tackling these turns quite nicely. It's not a fast car. It's quick, but it's not really quick. Obviously, if you want more speed, then get the Scat Pack. You can certainly hustle it, but I would say it's not as enjoyable as quite a few other cars that I would have driven. But having said that, I'm going to go through some of these turns quite quickly. It's definitely got plenty of power, and of course 468 foot-pounds of torque. Kicks in around 2,500 RPM. That's good news too. What they really need is a new version of the Hemi. Come on, Dodge. They need a V8 with 450 and then a V8 with 550 for the Scat Pack. Have to account for the sheer bulk of this car. It hasn't so far wanted to understeer, but you've got to exercise a little restraint. Now the steering is really good. I turn, it points in the right direction, which is kind of what you want. There's no play in the steering. You can't feel what the front wheels are doing, but it is definitely quite deft at handling these tight twisties. The old Hemi used to eat Priuses for breakfast. Here is one now. So what do we think? Well, the new Dodge Charger RT isn't perfect. It's heavier than it should be. You can definitely feel the weight in the corners, and it absolutely cannot match the sound of the outgoing Hemi. I mean, would it be better with the Hemi? Of course, but until then, it remains a wonderfully flawed muscle car. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video. Out.